Hello, this is Debbie, and this is Light Up Your Worth. I am so excited to introduce you to today's guest. Gaelen Abt is a style sherpa. Don't you just love that word? She was born and raised in New England, and she currently lives in Rhode Island. She's a wife and a mother of two amazing young adults and one really cute dog. Oh, love that. Love for babies. Being a bit of a manic creative keeps her family, friends, and clients on their toes, never knowing what she'll bring to the table next. Her true underlying passion is understanding human nature and why we do what we do. Isn't that a question we all have? She is currently delving into the chakras, astrology, crystals, archetypes, and human design as tools to further her own methodology of conscious dressing, which is the art of using your clothing as tools to support you in feeling more confident, motivated, relaxed, joyful, and powerful in everything you do. Understanding your individual nature and energy flow is a key element to bring your authentic self inside and out. Welcome.
Thank you. And I'm just going to correct the pronunciation. It's Gaelen Abt, the style Sherpa.
Yes.
So just Gaelen Abt. Yep. Nice and easy.
Yes.
Not easy at all. It is not easy at all.
I know we were talking before because, if you've listened to any of my podcasts, you know that I have a life challenge of punctuation. I always have. And so I always give my guests permission, just so the listeners know, to correct me because I'll practice and practice. And then whatever it is about turning on the mic, all of a sudden I'm like, that fourth grade girl trying to correct myself in front of the teacher of mispronunciation. So,
well, I think you're just heading into your zone of genius when that microphone, when that camera comes on. So that's where your full focus is, and pronunciation just isn't part of that. So that's all.
I know, unfortunately. I mean, I guess you can't. Even my adult son too. I have an adult son, and he says, "Well, Mom, you're pretty much good at everything." And I'm like, "No, actually, I'm not. There are some few things that I don't know how to do. But thanks for thinking I'm up here on this pedestal."
See, you did a good job. Yeah.
I'm like, thanks. I love you too, son. I love you too. So thank you for joining me. I'm just so excited. There's just when I look at your background behind you too, it is like an amazing set of styles and textures and colors, and that is just feels like it's all part of this beautiful tapestry that's catching my eye, like this beautiful oranges and this burgundy color that I'm like drawn to, and all these colors. And I think, wow, that really is even just how you show up, is to just embrace all of the colorful kaleidoscope of life.
Well, hashtag nailed it, Debbie. Like literally, wow, that's exactly right. And thank you for noticing my background. I actually had my best friend come over and help me with this because I wanted to I just was like, I'm like, I wanted to express me. And she's like, oh, just calm down. And so she's like, here, you can change it around. And since she came in and just was like, let's put this, and I brought her stuff. Since then, I've been able to zhuzh it, and it really is me. Like, you totally got it. And that makes me so happy because it's like little bits of me and my personality. I've got my singing bowls for all the different chakras in there. And literally before I got on here, I did my root chakra so that I could stay grounded. And then a singing bowl, and then I did my throat chakra singing bowl so that I could speak my truth comfortably. And so like these shelves and these things on the shelf are very special to me. So the fact that you noted that makes me so happy.
Oh, that is so nice. I just took off the screensaver that I had because sometimes I keep it on and sometimes I don't. So right now I have this blank canvas
But
because
see, you've
I've
got lots
recently
of
moved.
fabulous crystals and
Mhm.
statues and wonder, and I see probably phenomenal books back there. I probably want to get my hands on.
Yes, they're like some of the favorites because I've recently moved and most of my stuff isn't here. Why, as we record this, won't be here for another 6 or 8 weeks. And so, so if you're moving across country, know that movers are backlogged. I'm sure everybody wants to know that, right? But so I have
Wow,
bookshelves
that's
that
a
are
long
just waiting.
time.
So I'm like, well, that's okay. I have what I need,
Yeah.
that fit in my, Ford Edge before
Says
I
says the
before I
woman
moved
with the
out here.
bag of rocks. I have
Yeah,
what I need. Just
I
my
have what I
rocks.
need. I have my rocks. I have some of my key pieces of jewelry. I have, some of my favorite books, my colors, and yeah,
I
my
see a singing
I have
bowl
all
back
my
there.
crystals with me though,
I
of
see a
course.
singing bowl on the
Yeah.
shelf. So
Yeah.
yes, yes,
I have my singing bowl. I
yeah.
have my, a big shell that has a sage. I have my diffuser. I have the goddess up here with some with uh laminated money. I have stuff that you can burn, some incest type of stuff that I burn in there. And then I have, this is actually one of my favorite things right here, is this glass. And this is, I got this from Glenna Doyle idea, where you put in at the beginning of the year, every day you put in something good that happened. And at the end of the year, you pull it out and you read them all. And that's how you bring in the new year. So,
It's funny. I have heard of this, but I don't think I've ever met anyone who's done it, and that just gave me goosebumps or truth bumps, as Nancy Andrew would say.
truth buds. Oh, yeah. Truth. Oh, thank you, Nancy.
Oh, Nancy.
Oh, yeah. So I do have a few of my things, but not quite yet. So I was like what you've done here is, I've been thinking, okay, what do I want new to come in and join me in this magical space?
Oh, that's delightful. I love that. I love that. What do you want? Oh, you're inviting something fabulous in, right? Just, and you've got all this space. So it's what a blessing, this 6 to 8 weeks you have to really sort of sit in that available space.
Yes. Yes. And the magical part, and I don't know if I had shared it with you before, is that I live in Flagstaff, Arizona now. So I am literally in a Ponderosa Pines up here at 7,000 feet. I'm 45 minutes from Sedona. If I go down, if I go the opposite direction, then I'm at Grand Canyon. So I am surrounded
Oh,
by this
the energy.
magical
Oh,
energy that called me here. And I haven't gone out to some of the little stores yet downtown here in town in Flagstaff. We have this wonderful, magical little downtown. And of course, there's crystal shops and there's, different types of shops. This is a big outdoors area, so you have a lot of the big like REI, sportsman's wear, you name any of those
yeah,
outdoor
hiking,
stuff, right?
climbing. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
All the things.
Mountain
Yeah.
biking's huge here. And so I haven't been into those either. So just so you know, I haven't been shopping. And so I thought, okay, because I was just waiting, like, what am I going to call into this area? Right. I've been even looking at, which is so funny. Remember the little, I call them like the hippie beads that
Yes.
come down.
Love them.
And I thought, oh, wouldn't that be kind of fun to have like right here?
And just the sound they make when you hit them, just
Yeah.
like that vibration of that sound is.
Yeah. Yeah. I had them up in one of my homes in my 20s, I think it was like our late 20s. We had it up in a house that it was all, big master room, but we had it up between the bedroom part and the bathroom, like as a separation. And it just felt so magical, but yet, you still had plenty of space. And so it's powerful how we surround ourselves with our environment and expressing like what you've done in the background of expressing that to yourself. And I absolutely love that you are a style sherpa. I mean, that I mean, it really, being able to express yourself on the outside of what you feel in the inside. So I'm fascinated to find out, how did you come down this path? I mean, that's a big
Yeah, and it's funny.
journey.
I have always been one of these people who doesn't want to wear the same thing twice. Like in high school, I gave myself this challenge. I get bored easily. I don't want to wear the same thing twice, but I certainly didn't have a lot of clothes or a lot of money, right? We just didn't. My parents were divorced, right? So there was not a lot of money to be had. So I went about the process of, how can I make as many different outfits with the things I already own as possible? And so I did, and that's just something I've done, and I've always been good at it. But when someone really asked me what my why is, and I put some thought into it, it actually came back to shortly after my parents got divorced. And my mom went from being a stay-at-home mom, and she used to teach art. She's an artist, sculptor, and she would teach art classes in the basement, but she was a stay-at-home mom. So then she had to go to work and find a job. And I remember she had an interview lined up. And I remember her going to her closet and looking in her closet, and all she had were mom clothes, dog clothes, or sculptor clothes. And none of those things was going to work in the early to mid 80s in corporate, where she was looking for a job. And there was a lot of, like, I went in there with her, and I'm like, even I, with all my, what can we create, my chopped basket mentality. And I was like, oh my God, like there was nothing. And she didn't really have the funds to get anything. And there was a lot of stress. Well, the week of that interview, she gets this package in the mail, this mystery package. And it was this big, beautiful box, like something out of the movies, like that you like, no one's ever seen this in person. And it just arrives, no name on it, just to my mom. And she opens it up, she lifts the lid and moves across the beautiful colored tissue paper. It was just like, and inside was the most gorgeous lavender suit you have ever seen. It was a designer. I don't remember the name, but it was designer, and it was lavender, and it was elegant, and it fit her beautifully. And she put that suit on, and you could just see and feel the change in her that, oh, now I can go to this interview. And she did, and she got the job. And we laugh and we called it the miracle suit. And she eventually found out which friend had sent it to her. But that really, at the time, I didn't realize it, but that stuck with me, because you saw the change. You go from, oh my gosh, I don't have any way of showing up in the right, appropriate way. And what am I going to do about that? Versus, I've got this. And it literally shifted everything. And from that point, clothing has been very powerful, very powerful. And I've always just loved helping people find things. And everyone's like, how do you always just know what looks good on me? Because I'm the girl who's going to buy you a gift and you're going to be like, I would never have picked this out in 10,000 years. And I love it. And I wear it and I get compliments. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just doing what I do. That's what I do. Right. I don't know.
Oh, that is such a wonderful story, because I mean, I think I entered corporate as mid 80s, late 80s. And I remember mainly I was probably in my heyday in the early 90s, throughout the 90s, where we still wore suits every day. You had to wear like dress for the job you want versus the job you had mentality was out there. And I had a
very uniform based.
Yes. And
I had uniform based.
I had my power suit, as I would say, and it was bright red. Ooh. And it was super powerful. Every time I wore it, I was like, my staff knew, oh,
what's going on today?
who are you meeting today?
Yeah.
And I'm like, how'd you know? Well, we know your suit. We know when you wear that suit that. And the funny thing is, I kept that suit for a very long time. And that's when you look at even all of the like public figures, everybody was wearing suits with the little, like some of them were just absolutely stunning. Like, and don't you love, I don't know about you, but I love like the 50 suits that they would wear. Were they the smartest dressers ever?
Well, I tell you what, back then they knew how to dress a woman's body.
Yes.
That, because they knew how to create that shape using the fabrics. Oh, 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 yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Agreed.
Super, super powerful. And I went, what I found so fascinating about your work is when you have that outfit on, we have all had it. It does, it ignites something inside of you that is very spiritual and you are so aligned with divine. Like it totally, it's almost like I didn't even know this back then, but what I know now is like, it feels like it just opened up my third eye and all of a sudden everything is completely aligned and you are who you are supposed to be there. You're yourself and you're so secure in what you're doing.
And that's exactly it. And what I work with my clients is showing them how it doesn't have to be just one outfit, and that how tapping into how you're feeling and what you're needing, and then how these different things affect you, knowing that the awareness and spending time being aware and becoming more aware of yourself is so powerful, because then you can have a closet full of power items, but they're powerful in different ways. Some are going to let you stand up on stage and talk to a group of people. Some are going to let you go to a cocktail party full of very intimidating people and not feel like sitting in the corner. Some are going to support you as you're grieving a loss. So each of these things is powerful in and of their own way, and they're so important to understand how your pieces affect you so that you can use them, choose them consciously, choose them to support you on a daily basis. It's very powerful.
Oh, yes. So how does the clothing part of it in that feeling of being empowered, how does that intertwine or crosswalk maybe to all of the other magical gifts that you have?
Well,
How are you infusing all of that goodness, all that spiritual goodness, all of that wisdom and knowledge that you've obtained into this whole process of our own individual styles?
well, it's such a cool question, because that, when I finally had my aha moment a few years ago and conscious dressing was born, I was like, it was one of these like, oh my gosh, I've just shifted my reality. Duh. This is how it works all together. So by understanding the different modalities. So chakras, for instance, right? The 7 energy centers that we all have in our body. So there's the root, the sacral, the solar plexus, the heart, the throat, the third eye, and the crown. And just understanding how each of those affects how we show up allowed me to say, oh, so when my heart is having some issues, like I'm grieving or I'm having a hard time. So for instance, last fall, both my children flew the nest. They launched within 6 weeks of each other. I had one move to New York City and one go to boot camp Marine Corps. So within 6 weeks, I had both babies just leave. And as prepared as I thought I was, because I thought I was, I had on my tools. Yeah, I was ready. No, no, I was not prepared. And because I was so understanding of, oh my God, I'm knocked off my access right now. I wore a lot of greens and pinks to support myself, to show myself the love, and to give myself, to sort of like surround my heart chakra with that energy. And I was able to use my clothing and accessories, because then I was able to pull the rose quartz jewelry in and say, you know what? I am just going to cover myself in rose quartz. And then if I would be out shopping, I'd see this like beautiful lacy green dress. And I was like, that's lovely. And that makes me feel light yet supported. And it really helped me get through actually the 3 months for boot camp, which was really hard because we couldn't talk to him at all. There was like no communication. And so it was these were tools that helped me get through a really challenging time. And it's a mindset shifting, right? So it's allowing me to pay attention, to go, oh my God, I'm not motivated. I'm feeling off today. What's going on? Okay, well, you're missing the kids today. So you know what? I'm going to go up. What I did was I went up to their bedrooms and I started occupying their bedrooms in some way with some of my stuff. So I was sort of combining my energy with their energy. And I would go and I would be up in their energy in their room. And it felt really comforting to me. And knowing that I had my own back, that I didn't need to, fall apart on my husband when he came home, although we fell apart with each other. But it was nice to know I had my own back and that I could go, okay, I'm going to take a few minutes and miss the kids. And then I'm going to be really proud of what they're doing. And I'm going to take a step forward and try to accomplish something for me now. And it's just an amazing tool so that you are self-sufficient, right? It's really about survival, taking care of yourself, because really this is the most important person out there is you. You are your most important person. And if you feel that you see yourself and you care about what you're going through and you're not ignoring things, you're not pushing it away, you're not like, you know what, I'm just going to throw on black things. It's fit, it's baggy, I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'm depressed. If you say, I am depressed and I'm feeling sad, and why, and go, you know what? I think I haven't spoken my truth. I'm going to put some blue on today. That right there says you're worthy. You are worthy. And it helps you go about your day just a little bit easier.
Yeah. That's such a powerful experience that you just shared. Being an empty nester myself. And he launched and then I relaunched, but the final launch has been many years now because he's 32. But the final mid-20 launch was successful. Right. But he lives in Montana and I'm in Arizona. And we haven't been in the same state in 2016, as he's off, pursuing his life goals and dreams. And
good for him.
And I understand that feeling of missing them.
Right. And it's a very different, oh, bless you.
Oh my goodness. Sorry.
Bless you. It's a very different missing than like when my daughter went to college, right? That was very different. That was hard in and of itself. But then when she moved to another state, and then he joined the military and moved, I was like, oh, like that. It was a very different experience. And, I was so cute. I really did think I was ready for it.
Yeah, I did too. So did my sister, and she has 4. Yes. Now she is. In fact, she had to go, she bought a book to help her through. She's, and then when she was all done, she sent it to me when she was ready to release the book. She goes, I think this might be helpful for you.
Excellent. Oh, lovely. Lovely.
Right. Like,
yes.
I think and it was really, really helpful about the whole empty nest thing. And our identity is, as so many of us are in the mom role of when we're in that mom energy. And so, but you did also mention something that I want to refer back to, is that when you were talking about the 7 chakras, and then you were talking about, I think I want to go focus with my heart on green. So is there, for the listeners, is there a correlation with each of the chakras with different power colors or colors that are associated with each of the chakras?
So each of the chakras has a color associated with it. So it's a great way to step into that. So the root chakra is red. Then the sacral chakra is orange. The solar plexus is yellow. The heart is green. The throat is blue. The crown is like an indigo purple. And then, the third eye is indigo purple, and the crown can sometimes be a bright purple, or it sometimes can be a white. So it depends. But that being said, so those are the traditional things. When you see all the chakras and the wall hangings and things, those will be the colors associated with each one. But what I have come to find out is that by knowing myself and how the different colors affect me, I know what feels supportive where. So sometimes red is very grounding for me, right? Mm-hmm. But for the most part, black is extremely grounding. And I know when I'm feeling like I need that, I'll put on some black. Sometimes, so the solar plexus is yellow. Yellow doesn't necessarily always feel super powerful for me. So if I'm wanting to stand in my power, but understanding how I feel when I wear certain items of clothing, that's, like black actually can also be powerful because I feel grounded. I feel able to stand. So it's a matter of paying attention to how I feel. So it's a great place to start by using the traditional colors, but it's
Mhm.
not by any means like a guarantee that that's going to work for you, you know?
Oh, yeah. It's interesting that you shared that because I think about over the years, like my favorite color has always been purple. Like, you
Dark
know,
purple, light purple, what kind of
it's
purple?
been more when I was like high school years, it was like the lavender color purple. And then as I've gotten older, it was like right out of school, it was like a dark royalish kind of purple. And so you can look through all my how much purple I've worn over the years. And as a child, it was a blue. I have blue eyes, and so my mom would wear, I wore a lot of blue as a child. And then as I've noticed just in the last couple of years, I still love purple, but teal has been like the color that just radiates my soul. In fact, that's the color of the
Mm.
logo that you saw back in my background. And it's also in my color wheel of a very specific color. And there's something about when I'm wearing that color, the this I feel like it's almost like another archetype steps into uh who I am, why I'm here. It's like the royal purple, I guess, when you think about like the chakras. Like that's what it does for me. And even this color, even though it's really light, this is actually a color that is very powerful for me as well.
Yes,
And
I agree. Light colors can be very powerful. I feel the exact same way. Today I chose some very light colors to wear, the sort of lavender and this light soft chambray blue. But then I popped with these sort of reddy pink earrings, which actually
uh-huh.
just got at the farmer's market this morning.
Oh,
So much
those are
fun. Yeah.
gorgeous. I did notice them.
It's hard for me with earrings because they get lost in my hair. So these are like,
Mhm.
ooh, they're not going to get lost in my hair. You can see that.
I know. I think I need to go upgrade all my earrings. It's hard to share my earrings on the podcast because of
Right.
the headset, but um I had super long hair earlier this year and I cut off 18 inches of hair. So I've really, much shorter hair and in support with my sister, with cancer. And so she lost her hair. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to cut off my hair that I've had long for like forever, literally. But now and I used to have the issue with the earrings as well. And now I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready for some funky, fun part of it.
My
So,
favorite type of earring is when they don't match. So they like they're the same, they've got the same ingredients, but they're strung differently. And that just feeds my soul because like I'm a Gemini, so it's all about the two halves, the yin, the yang. And that makes me so happy. I have a friend who it gives her such agita when things don't match. She cannot handle that. She wants everything just
she wants to
so
fix your earrings.
so I have to be careful. I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna go see her. Maybe I should not wear these earrings.
Oh, that's so cool. I know I used to have so many earrings and then I pared them down to the whole corporate look. And now it's like, okay, I need to, now that I have shorter hair again, you can see them more, and it made me think of what you were sharing about um, knowing ourselves and knowing, how we feel in certain colors. Now, if somebody's just starting out and they're trying to figure out that, what 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 tips or what suggestions would you give somebody to help start to figure out that color feeling even for themselves?
Right, which is truly the most important thing to figure out. First you need to know how it's going to affect you, right?
Mhm.
So I would say just start taking little mini moments as you're getting dressed and tapping into, "Well, how am I feeling today? Okay. And I tell people it's sort of like the core of my conscious dressing methodology is the first thing you do is do a quick check-in, just a quick, okay, Galen. And this is like non-judgmental zone, right? So this isn't me judging myself. This is just observation. How am I feeling? Oh, I'm feeling a little sore from my workout yesterday, or I'm feeling a little anxious, or I'm feeling happy, or like whatever it is I'm feeling. Acknowledge the feeling. I'm feeling this way. Check. Then go, what do I have to do today? Okay, I have to do that. How can I get from how I'm feeling to what I need to do? Right? Well, first thing we have to do is get dressed. So because of that, that's where the genius of this is. You're getting dressed anyway. So now all you have to do is pay just a little bit of attention. So when you're like, okay, I am feeling a little introverted today and I have to go get interviewed on a podcast. How am I going to get from introverted to talk like you're talking to your best friend? So I'm going to go put on something that makes me feel fun. Right.
Oh, yeah.
But paying attention. So you're gonna put something on. It's like, so what am I gonna reach for? I'm gonna reach for this bright top. I'm gonna put this bright top on. Then stop and look in the mirror and go, okay, did it accomplish what I needed it to accomplish? Well, I like the color, but the neckline it's too high. It's making me, it's all like, take it off. Okay, what can I do that's another color that makes me happy? Or maybe it's the same color or whatever. And just taking those few moments, it doesn't take very long. And I think people look at that as, I'm just indecisive. I don't have anything to wear. I can't figure it out. But the way I look at it is no, you're just trying to figure out what you need. And when you look at it as something that's important and needed for you, that sort of changes. It's not like, oh my God, I just can't get myself dressed. It's no, I haven't found the right thing to support what I need. And it's much more empowering. And so it's just taking a few minutes to look and go, okay, how does this make me feel? And most people are like, well, does it cover my body? And so it's learning to access the feeling. And it's practice. It's a muscle. You have to exercise it. So it's just practice it every day. If I put these earrings on, how do they make me feel? If I put these shoes on, how do they make me feel? And you don't have to do every item to start, because that's probably going to be overwhelming. But one or two items, it's going to make you feel like you're like, oh, okay, now I know how I make these pants or this sweater makes me feel. Cool. Great. I feel pretty good now.
I love that. I think I've been doing some of that.
We do it innately. Absolutely. But we just didn't understand what we were
Yeah.
doing. So yes, you absolutely do it innately.
Yeah. Yeah. Because when I look at, I've already meditated for most mornings, I should say. I'm not a perfectionist, but most mornings I've had my meditation. So I'm kind of feeling, and then I think about what am I doing that day?
Good.
And I will try something on, and you can bet that I've changed my shirt at least once before I've left the house or not leave the house. Like, I won't be leaving the house today anytime soon. Right. I'm doing an interview. So I I think about that. I also think about like, well, what am I feeling? What emotion am I feeling? And that does impact what shirt I'm grabbing.
Exactly.
Earlier this
Exactly.
year, yeah, I went shopping. My sister and I went shopping, and we went thrift shopping. And it was so much fun. She is like a queen of this. And so we went to this new place when I was out in Washington with her, and I picked up this really like almost purple lavenderish kind of like it was definitely a winter thing. It was winter. And every time I've worn it, it's too hot. Now it's summer when we're dating. And every time I've worn that, people are always like, wow, like you should wear more of that color. And I think, well, I did. I wore this color, like this lavender purple for. And what was so interesting is, and I bring up the thrifting part of it because I was trying to expand my wardrobe without thinking it's going to cost me all this tons of money. So my sister's been showing me different ways to infuse different things into my wardrobe. so that I'm recycling and, increasing, the vibration of the earth by doing that, and not.
But it's also, what it's also doing is creating a truly unique personal style. Like,
Yeah.
this is how personal style is created. It's not going and buying the things that are trending. It's buying the things that you love. And so if it's something that's trending, like maybe you love those white sneakers that are out there, like, oh yeah, totally buy those. But then go to that thrift shop and buy a cool top that maybe is decades old. And then you wear it. That's awesome, because then it's becoming your style. And that's how people, like, when you see people who are stylish, it's because they have curated a look, for themselves, and each thing means something to them. And they bring it in and go, yeah, this is awesome. And I love this. And
Mhm.
I'm not going to look like everybody else. I'm going to look like me.
Oh, and isn't that important in this day and age, especially. I think it's always been important, but this ability that we have, this freedom of being able to show up with who we are and through our outside the clothing that we are.
It's quite delightful. My mom, and her generation, and I was raised by that. You dress a certain way, right? And right up until like into the 80s and early 90s, there was a uniform, and that's what it was expected, and that's how you showed up, and that's what we did.
Mhm.
And now as I've stepped into this and created this whole thing and realized that no, I get to mix and match, which I've always kind of done. But what that does is create a style. I love the freedom of it. And I find that a lot of, if I work with a client from that generation, they struggle because they're like, but I'm not supposed to wear that. I'm over a certain age. My hair has to do this because I'm over a certain age. I'm like, your age has nothing to do with it. It's your energy. It's what you want, what you need. And it's funny, getting that into their head is a very challenging thing, because it was entrenched. It was entrenched in them. And so I'm so excited that everything has opened up, and now people are getting, what, I can show up just as professionally as you without wearing a uniform. And I'm going to look amazing. I'm going to look just like me, but I'm going to knock it out of the park, but it's going to be unique to me.
Yeah, I love that. I think back to all those uniforms that we wear, and I remember being in corporate and it being casual Friday. Well, all that meant is you could wear jeans with a really nice professional shirt and a jacket. Now I look at what's happened with the pandemic, with so many people going home and what people are wearing in now.
I, and
Wow, it's so
yeah,
relaxed.
I'm a little,
So
yeah,
relaxed.
it's unfortunate, because people sort of went, what does it matter? Right? What does it matter what I wear? I'm home anyway. And what I say to that is, it matters a lot, because getting dressed isn't for the world. Getting dressed is for you. It's the first thing you do to support yourself, and it can shift your mindset. If I'm home for the day, right? Like, I'm not going networking, I don't have any clients, I'm just staying home. If I'm like in a place where I'm like, whoa, I will literally go up and change my clothes. I will create a different outfit for myself, and it never fails to work. It never fails to shift my mindset so that I can come back down and go, okay, what can I do that's positive? And it always works 100% of the time.
Oh, yeah,
So
that's
it
really
does matter.
powerful. I have about, I call it my PJ day. That is about what, well, it used to be once a month. It's been more frequent lately over the last couple of years. So, but it started out as the PJ day. But basically, I was, out of my PJs, but it was usually like in some kind of sweat thing or leggings,
Mhm.
and it was I'm not going anywhere. This is my day to putter, to go inward, super comfortable. And I found when the pandemic started that those were the clothes I started to wear being home. And just what you said, like I had to, like, it took an effort of pulling myself out of, what do you mean I can't wear these leggings every day of my life now? Like, just so you know, with all my stuff not here, they're not here with me. They're still packed. because I
Yeah.
knew that I didn't need them here. That wasn't the energy I was going to be bringing. In fact, I've come to this conclusion because I have a couple boxes of multiple sizes of clothes, is that once the clothes that are in different sizes arrive, they are all being donated. Even my favorite, like leather pants, because I've decided that, you know, if I need them again, like that's all past. So I'm going to discard even stuff that I still love that still look great because I've done just fine with what I have.
And it's an opportunity to bring in new. I mean, you've completely changed. Oh my gosh, you've completely changed. Like you didn't just move a couple streets over.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, yeah.
Stepped into the whole next phase, with human design. I'm in that third phase, and this is it. Like
So
this.
what are you in human design?
Well, interesting enough, I'm a manifesting generator. But what's been really interesting is I did a cosmic human design, which does some math a little different, which is only about a year old. And I had a reading done on that. And that shows I'm a projector. And I have to tell you that the projector energy and the stuff that were coming up in my channels actually really deeply resonate, because some of the stuff on manifesting generator didn't, like my need of sleep. Once I was able to slow things down last year after a job loss, it was that I was able to really start to figure out more of my own energy without being on that karmic wheel of going at this level. And it revealed other parts of myself so that I'm not so drained, that I'm not so running in this chaotic pace that it feels like I'm always needing more sleep or more rest. And there's just nobody got time for that. And so allowing some of that downtime to go at an even deeper level inward to understand my own energy was super powerful. So I guess my question is, I'm both, I guess, in some way, but I really feel like the projector is really it's resonating more.
Yeah, yeah, I can. Yeah, but and yet I can see the Manny Gen in you as well.
Mhm.
Because you do like to do things in your own way, and that's the true blessing of the manifesting generator, is they get to create different ways of doing things. And they don't need permission, they just do it. And you clearly, like, you create the podcast, like
Yeah.
you clearly have that creation aspect to you, right?
Mhm.
And it does make sense that we wouldn't necessarily just be all one or all, it does make a little more sense that we would have a little bit of maybe all of them in us to some extent. It's just a matter of like where it falls, right? So
Yeah.
you don't have the
Mhm.
boundless energy, so you have a little more of the projector where rest is a vital part of existence. I'm a projector. What I found fascinating about being a projector, finding that out, was that I needed the invitation. And that when you try to force something on someone as a projector, it never goes right. But when you let it come to you, when you get the invitation to help, to guide, to whatever, it's very smooth. And I always find that when I just allow, and I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. When I tried to do something this way, it was much too generator-ish or Manny-genish. I was like, and it didn't work for me. What works for me is when people invite me, and that can be an energetic invitation. It doesn't have to be a would you like to. It can just be a conversation, or it can be a look, but I need to be invited. And when I let that happen, it's easy. And it's funny, I had a reading done a couple months ago, and normally most mediums and stuff, they can't read me. Almost every time I've got to get one, they've done a reading for someone else through me, because I'm a bit of a channel. I'm an oracle.
Mhm.
So unfortunately, very few people read me, but the one thing she did say in that reading that had to do with me was that everything comes easy to you. And I thought, yeah, I guess it does. Because when I just allow, things just happen. There's not a lot of push. I don't have to push, right? How do you know how to buy me that clothes? How do you know what looks good on me? I don't know. I just do. I allow. And so I just was like, it felt really good to find that out. And that's what I love about the human design, right? That really, it does give you a different perspective. I have a friend who's a manifester, and she didn't understand her gift is that she spots what everybody else's gift is. And that is a manifestor's gift. And she didn't realize that. And I'm like, she's the one who told me I was an oracle. She's like, you're an oracle. And I think you're probably a medical medium too at some point. And I was like, oh, you could be right. So it's just,
it's really,
like,
it's really
do you see? I'm
powerful
such
stuff.
I'm such a junkie. I know.
Yeah. Well, and I think we were, when I started the podcast, I was 20 years in, had began with Reiki. My first attunement was, right after 9/11, which I talk about in that one of the very first episodes, Raw and Vulnerable. I share my story if anybody's interested. And but that was 20 years ago at the end of a relationship, a 20-year relationship. And I started down this path and I thought, wow, I've tried and learned so many different things along the way, from, the singing bowl to sweat lodges to Reiki to, oracle cards, angel cards, essential oils, some other healing modalities that I've done called like the journey. And then I got to this point where it just seems like even essential oils and crystals used to be like, that was it, right? Like you have achieved everything that there is to learn. And then I started meeting all of these other types of energy workers, these different types of healers, hypnotherapists, like, and then you realize, wow, I have barely hit the tip of the iceberg. It feels like now, 20 years later, where I feel so blessed that I've had the opportunity to not only continue to grow and learn, always seeking different things, but feeling secure to figure out, oh yeah, I'd like to try that. Okay, that was fun. That's not really my thing, but that was super cool. And being able to highlight that for other people through the podcast, right? Like there's so many different ways to figure out who we are, why we do things, address our subconscious beliefs, our conscious beliefs, our patterns, our traumas, releasing small t's, big t's. And it's so beautiful. And, how has with your, like you junkie, you're manic creative with all of these different modalities, but how have you seen that manifest in your life as well?
Oh yeah, it's so funny as you were talking. I'm like, you preach, sister. Yes, yes, yes. Just the dabbling, the trying new things. It's just all so amazing. And just when you're like, oh, that's really cool, I have a grasp of it, something else is dropped in front of me. The universe says, here's the next level. And you go, oh, okay, that's cool. And I love that. So they say when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And so it's been such fun to sort of build my foundation and to see, okay, what's happening next. And now I start recognizing, right? I start recognizing when I'm about to level up, because I've built my awareness muscles to the point where it's usually I'm like, oh God, I'm going backwards. I'm going into old habits. I thought I was through that, and I'm using all my old tools and it's not working. And that's usually when as something new comes and I go, oh, and I go to the next level. I'm like, oh, all right, I got a lot to learn here. All right, let's go.
Isn't that so funny how that does? Like we start to recognize, oh, okay, that awareness of all of a sudden of,
but that awareness keeps us from spiraling into anxiety, into depression, into behaving poorly in relationships. It can change everything. I mean, my growth has affected my husband and my children because I'm learning how to communicate and interact and understand other people through my understanding of this. It's not just for me, right? I want to understand me thoroughly, absolutely. But through that, I get to understand all the delightful, delicious angels that are surrounding me, my family, my friends, the people I meet through networking. I get to understand them a little better. And by doing that, the interactions are healthier, which means we connect on a deeper level. And it's a ripple effect. It's just like, oh, I had this amazing conversation with someone, and now I want to go talk about this with someone else. And it just ripples. And this is how we're going to make change. We're not going to make, the politicians are going to do their thing. We're making the change here at this level. And every conversation we have is the change maker. That's where it's at.
I completely agree. In fact, I just recently changed the introduction to my podcast. It's quite lengthy. It's like a minute and a half, I think. But I felt the need to be able to express it more about, I believe so deeply into when two people come together and have these conversations, we are increasing the vibration and the frequency that is then emulated. And every time somebody is playing and listening to it, it is also doing that. Whether you're the person that they're like, I need the stylist, I need to learn more about you, or maybe I need to know more about Nancy Angel and who this is how we connected. And so I'm so grateful for that connection. And, you know, each time we just continually do that and support each other. And we are showing more light, giving people a way to help heal themselves, heal the earth, heal our communities by simply doing the stuff on ourselves and spreading it.
Yep. Every interaction you have, right? Every interaction you have can spread the consciousness and raise the consciousness. And as a projector, that's why I'm here. Projectors are here. That's why you're here. We're here to raise the collective consciousness. That's why we are on this planet. And so being able to step into that, understand that, and just be able to just be ourselves. And we're here. That's our purpose. It's just by being us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
That's kind of
learning,
cool, right?
And learning that what it took to be us, though. That's
right.
Been
No,
the
it
journey.
was not an easy journey. I'm not gonna lie. It's not. And no, it's not an easy journey, but it is so. Oh, it's so yummy. Oh, I love it. Even the bits that are sour are delicious.
Right. Well, that's why they're sweet and sour candy.
Yep.
You need a little bit of it. The contrast really helps you understand.
As soon as we started talking, like the Kundalini, my body started vibrating as soon as our conversation started. And that's how I know it works. It's working. I can feel the energy vibration in my body. This entire time I've just been vibrating, and I'm like, oh yes, this is big. This is really good. And I love that we're across the country from each other. That makes me feel
right. Like completely. Yeah. It's a bit amazing is that as a I'll just call myself a projector. Is that knowing that I have projected, like the podcast is in 22 countries.
Wow.
Like active listeners in 22 countries. I find that's phenomenal. I can't even like wrap logical words around it more than, like I'm grateful. But there's words that are deeply ingrained about how spectacular that is about the vibration and the frequencies that are occurring as we speak. And that they're real, it's so real how we're all connected. And I think as we continue to go into this different level of consciousness in the fifth dimension, like that's happening now.
I know. We're like in the middle of it. It's so cool. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's so powerful. And I'm so enjoying our conversation. And it's been such a pleasure to have you on here.
It's
And
been so much fun. I know.
and so for those who would like to reach out to connect with you to learn more about, this consciousness with how they're appearing on the outside, style Sherpa, how can they reach you?
Well, I am the Style Sherpa anywhere you look. So I have a YouTube channel. I'm on Instagram, Facebook. Um, I have a Facebook group, which I'd love to have people join, called Conscious Dressing with the Style Sherpa. And I do weekly lives, which I call the Awareness Zone, and where I just talk a little bit about some of the tools that I use. And I'd love to people join me there. It's just a wonderful little safe space that I've provided. And you can reach me at Gaelen, Gaelen at thestylesherpa.com. My website is thestylesherpa.com. So just search The Style Sherpa and you should find me, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should find me absolutely no problem. And I've got a new program launching in September. I'm very excited about. So it's going to be regular. It's like a coaching program, and it's working with people with their clothing. But there's all sorts of tools, mindset prompts, card pulls, and conversations, just to keep them on track, to support people through their journey of becoming aware and becoming more conscious, and helping them support themselves. So I'm very excited that is happening. So I'd love to have you all sort of peek in and join me and join the conversation, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's so important, to be able to find who our peeps are, as I say, who are the people that you feel that you can be your authentic self. So I hope that they check you out and, learn more about how you show up and how important it is. And remember how they felt when they have worn that perfect outfit for whatever it was on that, whatever day it was. We all have them. Think about that. How would you like to show up every day feeling like that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wouldn't that be amazing?
yeah. Super
Yeah.
powerful. So thank you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.